Let's make some noise. Come on.
Let's make some noise indeed, Nick Foles. Hey, what's going on, everybody? And welcome back to the Final Word with MattyB here on the It's a Rap Sports Network with your boy, MattyB on the call. That's right, man. Back from the dead, man. Last night, I did not make it. I want to apologize for not being able to get on the air last night. Just things kind of came at me real fast. I had some obligations that I could not get out of, and they ran late. You know, where I was in the world, it was raining off and on all day yesterday, and I had to do some things that required me to be outside, and it got over later than I thought it would, so I was not able to get on the air, so I do apologize profusely for failing in my obligations, but that's okay. I'm in charge of this network, so I can do what I want. But no, I am sorry. But we're back, and we're here. It's Wednesday, and we are back with the Final Word, and it's great to be back. It is. And we have some positive things to discuss today. We have two positive things that we're going to talk about. It's been a weird week. It's been a weird week for me personally. It's also been a weird week in the world of our Philadelphia sports lexicon, which to me at this particular moment in time only involves the Phillies. The Phillies won themselves a game today, 7-2 in the old-fashioned business person specials down there at CBP over the Chicago Cubs. Taking the series. That's right, man. Taking the series against the Cubs. 14th series win for the Phillies thus far in 2024. And salvaging and making, salvaging is not the right word. What's the word I'm looking for? Is it renewed hope? Is it renewed expectation? I mean, what word is this series to you? If you had to put this series in one word, we're all in one word. What would you put it in? Are you back on? Rebirth, life, hope, excitement? Yeah. So we're going to get into the game. Some positive, a lot of positives. You know, I got to give it to where it needs to be given. We're taking from this series as a whole, not just today, because you got to look at this thing holistically. And we're going to look at this thing that way. We got our other night segment, and we got our card review. No day in Philadelphia sports history today. That's right. June 11th has not been, there's nothing noteworthy. I looked, I scoured, I went to all the resources I use, and I found nothing that I could use for today. So no, I don't think I've ever not done a day in Philadelphia sports history. And this is going back to when I started this thing. I think back when I was still doing Talking Philly Sports with MattyB on EOP. I think I was doing it then there. And I don't think I've ever found myself a day in the calendar where I could not talk about a day in Philadelphia sports history because it's such a rich sports town. But today is one of them days. We don't have anything. So we're not doing that tonight. But we'll supplant that with our top 10 MattyB's favorite, greatest trades in Phillies history. We got through one of them. We got my number 10. Which was the JT Realmuto trade to the Miami Marlins in exchange for Sixto Sanchez. We also sent Jorge Alfaro along with that trade as well. So we got through one of those trades, but we'll get through number 9 tonight. I promise. It's been like one of those top 10 lists that I just haven't really given much credence to or attention to, but it's there, and we'll re-engage it tonight. And of course, our phone lines will be open. I'm going to throw the link in here a little bit, and we'll get that rolling again. And Joe House checking in with hey everybody. Hi Joe, how are you? Michael Papernick says a good series win. Is there ever not a good series win, Michael Papernick? That's what I want to ask you. Is there ever not a good series win? I don't think that. I don't think so. But I get your point. It was a good series win. We needed it. The Phillies needed it. The fan base needed it. All the above. And but of course, again, my original question still kind of applies. If you had to sum it all up in one word, what are your feelings right now for the Phillies? Back on. Back on's not really one word. We'll do 2 words. We'll do 2 words. If you had to sum it up in 2 words, what are your feelings about the Phillies right now? And Joe says, great win. It was, great series win. And we're looking far out now. We're not talking about the actual game. We're talking about the series. But we'll get it all started and we'll get it all into it here. We're going to get into the game here momentarily. So, I'm not going to get into the game because Big Al returned to the Fightins final tonight and did an outstanding job breaking down the game. And I want to thank Al for that, for coming back on a Wednesday. Him and Mike doing some flip-flopping around as Mike's got something he's got to do. Or wait, what was it? Al's got something to do on Friday. So they had a change. But Al came on and got himself a win as a host. I don't know when the last time Al had a win as a host of the Fightins final. But he got himself one today. So good job, Al. Keep up the good work, man. Keep up the good work. But let's get it going. Let's get the show started. So let's strap in, strap on, strap it up. Keep your head, hands, and feet inside the car at all times, and let us go. So Phillies today, 7-2 winners over the Chicago Cubs, taking the series 2-3. Jesus Luzardo pitched himself a fairly impressive game, comparatively speaking, of course, to what he's been doing lately, which has been hot garbage. 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 run. It was earned 10 strikeouts and 99 pitches. Again, I'm sorry. I have to temper all my excitement about Jesus Luzardo's positivity, or my positive thinking about Jesus Luzardo, with the 99 pitch through 6 inning line, because you're never going to explain to me or make me understand or make me appreciate 6 innings of pitching and 99 pitches. I don't buy it. I don't care what year of baseball we're in. I don't care of any of that. You're never going to sell me on 99 pitches through 6 innings as a amazing effort. It was a very good effort, and it was an outstanding effort, comparably speaking, to what he's been doing lately, as he was sort of dipping off into the abyss and sinking like a stone. But tonight, or today, he came back and he battled back and he had himself a good outing. Opposing Jesus Luzardo tonight was former Philly prospect. What's his name? What's his first name? Brown was his last name. What the hell was his first name? And look that up. Ben Brown, who was moved in 2022 to the Cubs in exchange for David Robertson. You guys remember that trade? One of Dave Dombrowski's many memorable trades. He only lasted 5.5, gave up 8 hits, 6 runs. They were all earned, 3 walks and 5 strikeouts. He also gave up a homer, and he went 100 pitches through 5.5 innings. So, but up to that point, I believe he entered the game with a 5.13 ERA. I'm not saying that's something to be very excited about, but those numbers can be a little bit misleading, I would say. But he'd been pitching serviceably for the Cubs. And again, I'm not telling you that I wish he was here. I'm just saying it was interesting to see a player that was sent. A player that was sent to the Cubs for a player that we got that's no longer hasn't been with this team for years, but I don't know, it's just, I guess, nostalgic for me. So I was looking back at that. Offensively for the Fightins, you had yourself Alec Bohm with a day, man. Homer, 4 RBIs, 2 runs, he scored a run, went 2 for 4 overall. His batting average is now up to 283. And I got to give Alec Bohm a pat on the back. I do. I got to get off Alec a little bit and say that, you know what? He's turned himself around, but I still believe the best way to reward Alec Bohm's turnaround this season at this point would be to trade him. Get on the phone right now and make a deal, because I think Alec Bohm is at his epochs right now, at this point in 2025. Let's not get fooled again, folks. Let's not go down that same rabbit hole that we did last year. Let's move off of Alec Bohm right now, because who knows how long this will last. And I don't think it's permanent. I think Alec Bohm is what he is. And he's an up and down kind of guy. And I shudder to what the down's going to look like and when that's going to happen as we get deeper into the season. So if you're looking to really reward Alec Bohm for his rejuvenation in 2025, if you're looking to give him a slap on the back, an attaboy, then trade him, because that would be the best thing you could do right now, because we need some help here. Otto Kemp, 1 for 4 today. Did have a strikeout, though. Batting average is at 222 as he continues his young career. And Trey Turner continues to be Mr. Consistent on top of that lineup. Leading off again today, Trey Turner was his 21st time that Trey Turner has led off the season for the Phillies. And when are we going to stop that and put Trey Turner as the permanent leadoff guy? You know, MattyB is not right often, and I admit that, but I was right about moving Kyle Schwarber down in the lineup, and I think I'm right about leading off Trey Turner. And I've been saying leading off Trey Turner since he's been here, and the Phillies have never committed to it. But he's continuously hitting, and he's setting the table, and he's doing all the things that you want a leadoff hitter to do. So why not ride the hot hand and put him back up top of that lineup and keep him there, and just be done with it, man? Because we need to get some stability and routine within this baseball team, and that's what I think. I don't think I've ever really brought that up. I was keeping track of this throughout the first 50 games or so in the season. I stopped doing it because I got too frustrated. I think it was around game 48, the 48th game of the year. The Phillies, at that particular moment in time, had only gone out with the same lineup consecutive times, 6 times through the first 48 games of the season. We don't talk about that at all. That has never been discussed, not anywhere that I could see or hear, but I brought it up. And I honestly believe that is part of this team's problem. Nobody gets comfortable in any position in the lineup. And we see the results of that in the bullpen. There's no roles. It's a free-for-all. It's Rob Thompson's in the damn dugout with a magic 8 ball, shaking that bad boy up, saying, who am I going to go out there in the 8th inning? Oh, Carlos Hernandez. Or try again later, more likely. The first step in reclamation for me, the first step in really turning this damn thing along is to actually create a standard lineup and not deviate from it for a while. And I mean like the rest of the season. Start saying, Turner, you're my leadoff guy. And again, I think I know the problem of why they've never really been able to do that is because this lineup is so imbalanced. There is no true number 2. We got a 3, we got a 4. I don't know if we got a 5. I don't know if we got a 6, and we got a 7, 8, 9. So I know we're maybe missing some components within that, but do the best you can with what you got and create me a goddamn lineup and get these people to start feeling comfortable batting behind each other. Baseball is the biggest sport of routine going. But here in this town, with this manager and this regime, we like to play musical chairs on a daily with this baseball team and with these baseball players. So we've tried everything else. They've tried sitting this guy. They tried sitting that guy. They tried moving this guy up. They tried moving this guy down. They've tried it all. The one thing they haven't tried is a little bit of stability. Maybe that's the missing ingredient. Maybe that's what's missing from this baseball team is that, Alec Bohm wants to feel comfortable batting in front of whoever and behind whoever. Maybe that's what's missing. And, of course, maybe that's what's missing in the bullpen, too. I don't know. But we've tried everything else. But Trey Turner, that was a big, long way around for me saying that Trey Turner needs to stay in the leadoff spot forever. I am not anymore convinced that this team is an above-average 500 team for the most part. Steve Fenentes checking in with that. And, if you do the numbers, Steve, and when I say the numbers, if you run the numbers from, say, I think we can do about June 11th of 2024, or maybe even London. If you run the numbers from London to today, you're going to be you might be right about your statement about a 500 ball club, because that's kind of what they have been in that stretch of time. And that's another part of the Homer narrative of, stop overreacting. Everything's fine. That's part of their narrative, is that they're looking at the 10 games above 500 and saying, you know what, how can you get down on a team that's 10 games over 500? But if you look at this thing for a bigger lens, a year out, you're going to see a different team. But Steve, you're right. And another big question is, when the hell are some changes going to be made? Now they have made some changes, and we'll talk about them. That's all they are right now. Yeah, that is all they are right now. Indeedy duty. Ricky Deal was watching. Hello, Ricky. How are you? Love the double steal today. That was really cool. Absolutely really cool. We got bunting going on in this series. We got double stealing going on in this series. When was the last time the Phillies double stole successfully? And what I mean by that is, I know there's been hit and runs that have been on and whatever, but I agree. looking for you last night. I figured you still weren't feeling well. I'm glad you seem better. I forgot about that, Barbara. You're right. No, so for those of you that don't know, about 2 days ago, I guess now, I took a fastball, or I took a foul ball. I don't know how fast it was traveling, man. But boy, and typically when you're behind the plate or you're calling games and you get hit in the face, I've got hit in the face 1,000 times. You usually get hit right here, kind of in the mush, like right here, right? Where that part of the mask, like I wear a hockey helmet, the part of the mask that sticks out. And all that really causes a little bit of a bong, like somebody just stuck a big old saucepan over your head and whacked a big old metal spoon against it. That's really all the effect of that. But the other day, I took one right here, boom, in the forehead of my mask, and that thing sent a shockwave throughout my body, and my jaw hurt after I got hit. And I'm very sure that I got concussed, and I'm still probably concussed. But I didn't do any play games yesterday, and I did a play game tonight. But I do feel better. I don't feel foggy anymore. I did feel sluggish. I felt I had to actually concentrate on the simplest of tasks to not miss a step. Not like, oh, make sure you put your shoes on. Not like that. But I had to be like, okay, if I'm going over here, I need to make sure I have this, and this here with me. Are they all here? Yeah. So I did notice that yesterday and the day before, right after it happened. And I had a dull headache for about a day. But now I'm feeling a heck of a lot better. And then it's not my first concussion. I mean, I've been blown up like 5 times inside of an MRAP in Afghanistan. So I've been concussed before. It's sort of kind of what it is. But yeah, I am feeling a lot better. So, and no, I did not actually. The reason why I wasn't on the air last night had nothing to do with physical issues. It was timing. I just wasn't unable to get here in a home in an appropriate time to go on the air. So, but thank you, Barbara, for being concerned. Bohm's girlfriend was all over TV after the game. She's ridiculous. I really don't know what she's good at. Well, you could say the same thing for her boyfriend. I don't know what he's good at either, right there, Barbara? I mean, I got you. But again, I go back to my original point. If you want to reward Alec Bohm for his great play as of late, then trade him. That would be the ultimate reward, because I'm not sold on Alec Bohm. I don't think that. I think we know what Alec Bohm is. I think Alec Bohm knows what he is. And unfortunately, the rest of baseball probably knows what he is. But try to trade him right now. Do what you got to do. They will be. I'll put the link in a little bit later. I noticed they moved Kemp up to first base already. Yeah, again, the Alec Bohm thing. Ricky, yes, Ricky, he said that. They made their big move as promised on cutting Hernandez. Yeah, well, and they brought up Michael Mercado in his place. Now, we actually, timing having it, we talked about Michael Mercado the other day. He was our Phillies prospect of the night. I think it was, Monday night when I was on? I didn't have any prior knowledge, but cutting Hernandez, is that really, I mean, please don't tell me that's the move, right? Just like telling me that they signed Lucas Sims as a free agent. That can't be the move, right? Or they traded a pitcher, they got a pitcher from the Blue Jays organization for cash. These cannot be the moves, right? Bringing up Michael Mercado for Carlos Hernandez, unfortunately for Michael Mercado, it's sort of the same thing. I mean, Mercado ain't done nothing for me. He had that one good start, and again, he's a starter, and I guess they're going to throw him out of the bullpen, obviously, but I'm not thrilled. These are internal moves about players that I'm not sold on to begin with. Mercado was up here last year and got pounded. So I hope these aren't the moves that we're making to make this team better. I hope that there's something coming later. We talked about Dombrowski traveling with the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs last week and perhaps making some copious notes about some of these prospects for potential trades or promotions. But Michael Mercado and Seth Johnson, Otto Kemp, Mick Abel. I mean, I get it. I don't know, but these aren't the moves that are going to tip us over the finish line for a World Series now, are they? The kids on the radio are still celebrating every time the Braves lose like they're a good team. Well, they got to hold on to something. They got to grasp onto something. But so let's get back to breaking this down just a little bit more. I don't want to belabor the point because Al did a great job earlier on the Titans final, so I don't want to jump on his coattails there. But listen, 7 runs, 10 hits. Phillies pitching 11 strikeouts on the day. Phillies struck out 9 times as a team. That's not good, but all in all, they left only 5 runners on base. They were 3 for 8 with runners in scoring position. That's okay. I'll take that based on what they've been. They hit 2 home runs today. Did not allow any home run. Well, no, they hit 2 home runs and they did allow no home runs. Well, yeah, that's right. They allowed no home runs. So, all in all, a productive series. All in all, productive series win. Mick Abel had his roughest start of the year yesterday, so that wasn't positive. But I mean, Chicago is one of those teams that are probably going to be there at the end of all this, looking up, in the playoffs, and we may see them again at some point. But you gotta, and they took the season series against the Cubs, so I'll be hearing about that all summer. I'll be hearing about the whole summer that why the Cubs took the Phillies took the season series from the Cubs. Like that means anything come October, but you definitely got to feel better, or do you? And that's the question I posed to everybody tonight. If you feel better, or if you don't feel better, what are the 2 words that summarize your feelings for the Phillies at this particular moment in time? Need more, I guess, would be mine. Right? Need more. I need more. I need to see more. I need to look at some of the X's and O's because they're winning, or they won this series, but they're the same team. There's nothing different. They're winning games the way they win games, and they're still losing games far too often. And that hasn't worked for this team. That has not been what was needed to win a World Series. And that hasn't been what's required to win a World Series. This team has not yet put it all together. So what are the 2 words that summarize your feelings for the Phillies at this particular moment in time? The move coming might be closer. What is the move? I mean, can anybody summarize what they think it is? Is it internal? Is Dombrowski going to pull the trigger? Because when you look at trades and you look at going around the MLB right now to try to make some moves, right? Unless you're talking to the Rockies, the White Sox, the Pirates, maybe the Marlins. Who else is maybe the A's too? Who else though is seriously talking trades right now? Because aside from those teams that I just talked about, everyone else pretty much seems like they think they're still in this thing. And I don't know if this team can hang on to late July at this rate. And again, I'm not telling you to drain the farm system, and I'm also telling you that they need to bring the entire farm system up here. But there's got to be a series of moves, because it's not just one. There's got to be a series of things done with this baseball team over the course of the next probably 2 weeks that need to stabilize things. They're hit with injuries right now. Aaron Nola. What happened to the ankle problem? Because now he's got a rib problem. He's got a fractured rib or something, a high stress, whatever. I don't even know what the hell they call it, but now he's got rib issues. What happened to the ankle? Did that heal itself? I mean, what are we doing? Is it the rib? Is it the ankle? Is it his arm? What's wrong with Aaron Nola? And why can't we get a straight answer? But now he's going to be shut down for a while. He obviously got Bryce Harper, who's been dealing with allegedly not the wrist problem that we all thought he had because of getting hit by Spencer Strider, but now he's got an elbow issue that's been bothering him all year. I mean, what else are they keeping from us? No one's talking about that either. The lack of transparency of this baseball club. Is Aaron Nola's rib problem, is that phase 2 of the shell game of Aaron Nola? To continuously move him around, to put him, to get him out of the rotation? Is that what they're doing? Or does he have a rib problem? And when did that happen? And what is the move we want to see? Does Justin Crawford, is that the move we're looking for? I mean, I'm looking for it, of course. It's better than what we're hurting out the center field now. But is Justin Crawford going to take us over the top? Is Andrew Painter, who struggled mightily in his start last night, and has not pitched, I think, what is it, through the 5th inning since he's been back from Tommy John surgery? Everyone's has that on their little calendar up there on the wall, like this one here, and that got the Andrew Painter Day circled sometime around the All-Star break. I don't think he's coming, and honestly, I honestly don't really want him here. I've said this before. I think Andrew Painter needs to stay where he's at in AAA for at least a season. Fresh start in 2026. Bring him to camp, and then we challenge him for a rotation spot in 2026. But as far as 2025 goes, I've been on the whole. I don't really care to see Andrew Painter here. There's no need to. There really isn't. I mean, unless we're going to make our rotation like 9 players, we have 9 pitchers in the rotation, and like have no other positional players on this team. I don't see a reason for Andrew Painter. I really don't. But what is the move that Joe Hale's speaking of? What do you guys think the move is? Oh, I missed Al today. It seems like he's never working when I'm able to check in on that show. Al is so Barbara, a little bit of, again, transparency, because I provide transparency. I'm never going to lie to you. Al only does Fightins Finals on Fridays for the most part. But this week, he has switched because he has something to do Friday, and Mike was going to be having to do the show today, but I think Mike worked today, so it would have been kind of a time crunch, but Mike was going to do it, but they switched. So Al took it today, and Mike will take it Friday. But so if you're looking to see Al on the Fightins Final, it's typically on Friday nights as when he does his shows. So Cubs, especially PCA, have gone cold the last couple of weeks. We caught them at a good time. I mean, yeah, listen, Barbara, they're a good team, and saying that we caught them at a good time is true, but the same thing can be said about the Phillies being caught at a bad time. So you get the wins. Again, I honestly don't care if they're beating up on the Pirates, or if they're beating up on the Rockies, or they're beating up on the Cubs, or if they're beating up on the Yankees. I don't care who they're winning against. I want to see it consistently done across the board. That's what it's all about for me. It's no longer about the wins and losses. I think you guys and most Phillies fans are in the same boat as me. Homers alike. We always look at the inside of the game. We're looking, in between pitches. We're not focused on the game. And what's the win is a win thing, right? Everyone likes to put that out there. We don't believe that in Philadelphia. No matter what you say, no matter what, you as a Philadelphia sports fan, you know this to be true, and I'm talking to all of you. The whole win is a win concept does not exist here. No, it doesn't, because we analyze the wins. We look inside those wins and say, you know what? They got lucky because they really shouldn't have won because of X, Y, and Z. Right? We look inside the wins and say, well, yeah, they won, but I need to see more consistency out of X, Y, and Z. Right? So any Philadelphia sports fan that throws out a win is a win is lying straight through their teeth, because that's not what we do here in the city. Right? We don't do that here. No. No, we overanalyze everything. Right? Physician, heal thyself. All right. I'm probably the number one practitioner of that. So we look at a 7-2 win over the Cubs. You look at a series victory over the Cubs, but we're going to extrapolate other things. So, well, we need to see more Trey Turner leading off. McAbel didn't have a good start. So where does that leave McAbel? Is Jesus Lazaro back? Alec Bohm. How much can we really expect to continue to ride him? We'll look inside all this stuff and pull out reality. Even the homers do it. But the homers compartmentalize it. They don't talk about it. They push it deep down. But yeah, I don't know. Boston has some good talent to trade for. Yeah, like Roman Anthony. Let's go trade for him. Let's go trade for Roman Anthony, the number one prospect in all baseball, who just got called up, by the way, is now with the Red Sox. Let's go trade for him. 5 more years of Nolan, 6 more years of Harper. And that's another point too, Barbara. Barbara brings it up. Barbara brings it all into focus here. This could be the beginning of a long 11 years when it comes to these two players. I heard someone saying today, I forget where I heard it, that Harper's having a bad year. Yes. And I agree. But then I heard someone in the same person said that he's not playing like we're accustomed to him playing since he's been here. and I push back with this. Aside from 2022, when has he really lived up to the expectation that we set forth for him when he signed that contract all those years ago? Aside from 2022, how many years of that contract, or so far, how many years of that can you say, yeah, this was the right move? And I think if you look deep into that answer, I don't think you're going to like the answer. I really don't, because I think it hasn't worked out. And honestly, and I brought this up weeks ago, and I will probably continue to bring it up. Are we better off if we move off of Harper? If there's an opportunity to move off of Bryce Harper, are we better off in the long run for doing that? Now, it sends all the wrong messages optically. I get that. But you know what? I care about optics, man. I care about winning. And is this the beginning of the end when it comes to Harper and injury issues? And he's been off injured throughout the last 3 or 4 seasons. Now it's starting to kind of get a little bit more frequent. Tommy John, now we got an elbow problem. And is it the Tommy John elbow? Is that what the problem is? Is that what he's having issues with? I know it's not Tommy John related, or maybe it is. But it's a good question. Star Wars is a good win today. It was. On Fridays, thanks, Matty. Yes, he's on every Friday. Not this Friday, though. He has switched. Mike will be on Friday, but typically, though, he is on Fridays. He's our Friday guy. It's like Steve Fernandez is our Tuesday guy. We relegate. See, we have roles here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. You know what I mean? I know how to run a successful team. I provide roles to people. I give people their own piece of the world and say, this is yours. Make it any way you want it, but this is yours. And that's I think people respond to that. Everybody wants to feel like they're in charge of something. Everyone wants to feel like this is their spot. Everyone wants to feel like this is what I got. Baseball players are no different than that. And we don't do that with our team, but we do it here on the network. Ellis, God, I haven't heard from you in like ever, man. How are you tonight? Good to see you. So all in all, a good series win against a good team. So how are you feeling? 2 words or less or more. Let's face it. The hell with it. 2 words or more. How are you feeling about the Phillies right now? And for those of you that are wondering, there it is. I have just put it into the chat comment box there. The phone lines is open. And chime in if you want to talk, if you want to get involved. 215. No, it's just chime in. And we'll get you up on the air and we can have some fun. So 7-2. Phillies will now welcome in the Toronto Blue Jays, who they played just a couple weeks ago and didn't do too well up north. Now we'll get them down here. This is your Fighting's final schedule for that series over the weekend. Again, I didn't change the graphic because this was a last-minute change, so let's update this. Mike will be coming at you on Friday and Saturday. So Mike's going back-to-back over the weekend, Friday and Saturday, unless they switched again. Maybe Pat's coming on. I don't know. But it's right now, Mike and Mike. It's the Mike and Mike show on Friday and Saturday. And MattyB, my triumphant return to the Fighting's final on Sunday. I'll be back. I've done a Fighting's final in a minute, man. I've been trying to get these guys back in the race with the host record. It's been tough, man. They keep losing, but I'll be returning on Sunday for the Fighting's final, and also the Down on the Phillies, Down the Farm report as well. So there's your Fighting's final schedule for the weekend against the Toronto Blue Jays, and the other shows that we have here on the network. This tomorrow night will be my final. Now I might be coming on late tomorrow night. No Phillies game tomorrow, but I might be coming on a little late because I probably won't be home until about 10:30. So, but I will be on the air tomorrow. But on Friday, you got Pat Bernard with the wraparound, and this is we take you into the weekend. And of course, on Thursday night, I'm sorry, I forgot about the attacking third. Sorry, guys. Tomorrow night, Pat and Steve will be there for the attacking third. Then Pat on Friday night with the wraparound, and then on Sunday the PNM and the AM program. So the weekend it never stops. So make sure you're tuned in. I'd agree that Freddie Freeman has a better career than Harper, and Alonso is on his way too. Harper will never drive in over 130 runs like Alonso was done twice already, and he has like 63. Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. That's interesting because, again, do I regret bringing Bryce Harper here? No, of course not. He was the hottest free agent at the time. He's a franchise-altering type talent, right? And there's been a lot of success around him here. Not the ultimate success, but we've definitely. It was a signal to the fan base that we were serious about no longer being a doormat by bringing him here. I 100% understand that, and I appreciate that. But the contract has not aged well. It hasn't. And this is what you do when you jump in the bed with these types of guys. You really mortgage your future on this. And he wouldn't have taken a lesser contract because of the money involved. So it is what it is. But in retrospect, if you go back into the 2019, or was it 2018? Was it 2018? 2019. 2019. Do you sign Bryce Harper? In retrospect, if you know what you know now, do you sign Bryce Harper? Who knows? So Sunday we get you twice. Yes, I will be on Sunday. Yes, twice. So I'll be with my show at 10 o'clock and then the Titans final after the Phillies Blue Jay game. So yeah, you'll see me twice on Sunday. You'll see twice. Right? Twice? Is there a third time? No, twice. Nice for Bohm for having 4 RBIs. Yes, it was, Star Wars. And as I said, what is the best way to reward Alec Bohm for that? In my opinion, the best way to reward him is to trade him. 100%. Trade Alec Bohm right now. Right now. Make a phone call. Get it done. Get it done tonight. Because I don't know if we'll have Alec Bohm at this point ever again. So. Now, the Phillies, as I mentioned, had also made some roster moves. Michael Mercado is up. Carlos Hernandez is out. Seth Johnson joined the team a few weeks ago or last week. McAbel's up with the team. Otto Kemp is up. What? Again, I mean, I know I was calling for a lot of these prospects to come up, and I was calling for a lot of this, what did somebody say? I think it was Joe Hale maybe said it, or potentially Steve had said it's time to start making these guys feel uncomfortable. But I don't know. Is Michael Mercado making anybody feel uncomfortable other than me or other than us? Does Seth Johnson make anybody feel uncomfortable? No. Does McAbel making anybody feel uncomfortable? Maybe a little bit of Aaron Nola, I guess, potentially. But is Otto Kemp making anybody feel uncomfortable at this particular moment in time? I guess he has the most potential to make people feel uncomfortable. But when is it? And again, I go back to the moves question. Is this, Joe Hale mentioned, bigger moves are potentially coming? Or is this setting the landscape where we're positioning the chess pieces on the board to make a bigger move? However you want to explain it to yourself. But what exactly is that move? And does it involve moving on from some prospects, or does it involve the prospects of coming in here and trying to make certain players feel uncomfortable? And, or is it a managerial move, or is it a Dave Dombrowski move, or is it Kevin Long getting fired? What move is that? And when? When is that going to happen? Matty, I can't remember what teams were actually competing for Harper in 2019. Wasn't it the I want to say San Diego was involved because weren't they going back and forth with Machado? So San Diego was on the table, I believe. Who else was involved in that? There was like 3 teams that were involved in the Harper sweepstakes. That's a good question, man. Who were those teams? I know San Diego was some of those teams. Man, what was that, man? That's a good point, Barbara. I totally forgot about that. I don't think we're going to get Crawford yet. And that's another issue. And again, I'm not saying let's look at this from a different vantage point. Let's look at this way. Are we trying to create something from this minor league system that's not there? Are we so desperate for any kind of success in our player development program? Are we overhyping some players? I mean, McAbel did not have a good start. Otto Kemp has not really transitioned fast into the MLB game, right? He's struggled a little bit at the plate, right? We've already watched Michael Mercado implode last year. Seth Johnson, same thing, kind of was up and down when he was here last year. Are we, as a fan base, potentially a little bit more over aggressive when it comes to our prospects in terms of seeing them perform at the major league level than we should be? I mean, because our farm system was devoid of anything for years. And now finally, after so long, things are starting to cultivate a little bit. Things are starting to move, right? The fruit is starting to ripen on the tree. Are we picking it too soon? Are we wanting to pick it too soon? And there's a danger in that, because if we pick it too soon and it doesn't work here and we then get rid of it and then it goes back up on the tree again for a little bit somewhere else, and then they pick it when it's ripe, then you got a problem. So it is a double-edged sword. And again, a lot of the Andrew Painter people out there that were clamoring for this kid to already be here, and Justin Crawford as well, which I am one of. Are we overvaluating the minor league system and its readiness at this particular moment in time? Are we like, you know what, close enough? It's been so bad for so long. I'll take it the way it is. Bring me these guys. And is that the right thing to do as well? Crawford has been playing well at AAA. Actually, he's been playing very well at AAA. Right? Is he ready? Is Painter ready? I don't think Painter's ready. So, again, it's a double-edged sword of kind of running around with that. I felt uncomfortable watching last night with Kelsey and his Kelsey beer in the stands with people doing this. Yeah, Barbara, listen. And I know it's coming, and I can't stop it. And football season will be here before you know it. And it's a shame that, the way and you guys already know my feelings on the Eagles and all that. I would never have ever 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I was not like this. I was still as ever the present fan as everybody else, but I'm out. And Jason Kelsey, is he cheapening the whole thing? Is Jason Kelsey cheapening his legacy? Is it too much? Is it turning on borderline pandering? Is it like, all right, dude, we get it. Okay, we know who you are. All right, man, just go away, retire. He's the most visible retired person I've ever seen in my life. The only thing he is missing is the football uniform, because you still see him as much. And to me, it's part of the culture problem with this football team. And again, I know I'm going to have plenty of time here very soon to start discussing Eagles in nauseum. I can't wait. But you're right. I would feel uncomfortable too. So Joe Hale says it was the Padres, Dodgers, and the Oakland A's. The Oakland A's were involved in the Bryce Harper sweepstakes. Wow. Yeah, that's right. Dodgers. Yeah, Dodgers were involved. Marsh been out, hurt, suck. Who cares? I remember that we signed Harper really late as spring training had already started. Yeah, and I remember he showed up on the field and they have like a little press conference for him. His introductory press conference was at Baycare Park in Clearwater. I do remember that. But I remember also feeling how excited I was when I heard it. I remember, I think I bought the jersey that night. I think I went out and pre-ordered a jersey, and I have it, and I still wear it all the time. Otto was not bad at first today. No, he wasn't. And Otto Kemp is a good player. I think Otto Kemp is serviceable. And I think, but again, the question goes around to making players feel uncomfortable. Is Otto Kemp going to make anybody feel uncomfortable at this level? And the verdict's still out, right? But that's what needs to, I think, to happen. Joe Hale mentions the big move, right? What is that big move? Is it internally? Is it the prospects making these players feel uncomfortable, or is it moving on from some of these players with actual MLB talent? Right now, we have nothing happening. He's a center, for God's sake. He's a center. Good point. Very good point, Barbara. He is a center. All right. So Phillies win 7-2. They take the series. Now move back to 10 games, over 500. Now we'll welcome in the Toronto Blue Jays over the weekend. And is it back to one of those types of series? Do we got to take 2 out of 3 from Toronto? Do we got to sweep them? Can we not get swept? Can we not lose 2 out of 3? Where are we standing with the Phillies? Because the road won't be it's getting kind of bumpy. So you got Toronto, then you got Miami for 4. So this is an opportunity for the Phillies, right? They can build off of the Cubs series by taking 2 out of 3 from Toronto, go down to Miami and take 4 straight from the Marlins before heading home to play the Mets, which is again going to be one of those watermark series early on in this season. And I don't know if we can say the season's early anymore, but they got the Mets coming in, one of those watermark series. Very interested to see where the Phillies stand on that. But yeah, I can't wait. Blue Jays, Marlins, and Mets. Yep. Thoughts on the Flyers? Rumors they are trying to trade up. I heard that. And again, I've said this before, Joe. I don't think that's necessary. I think that unless they're targeting somebody, unless they're going to be looking to maybe make a move for Michael Misa, that could be the only thing that I can see why they would want to trade up. Misa is probably going to be the first center off the board. Matthew Schaefer, I think, is the first player off the board to the Islanders. And then after that, it's going to be, I think, center heavy with maybe a left wing thrown in there. It might be them trying to position for the center that they want. But I maintain that if you're not going to get Michael Misa, and if you can't go up to 2 to get him, then at 6, Patrick McQueen will be there. And that's who the player I want anyway. I want Patrick McQueen. Yeah, he had an off season because he had a back injury that kept him out of pretty much the whole season, minus 17 games. But when I look at this 6'5", 260 pound or 240 pound kid, I salivate over the fact that he could be the guy clogging up the middle in front of nets for the next 10, 12 years. And I'm not comping him to Eric Lindros. Not doing that. But I will compensate maybe a Tim Kerr type of effect for the Flyers. A big body in front to clean up the mess. And big bodies in front who clean up messes in the NHL score lots of goals. So I would be one. I don't want to mortgage the farm on going up to number 2. And I know they're trying to build a certain team here of scorers, speed, agility. And I don't know how much a 6'5", 230-pound centerman interests Danny Barriere, but it interests the hell out of me because I'm an older guy and I'm an old school guy, and I still think that there's a place in the NHL for centers like that. And I'm not saying he's your focal center. He's not your C1. I'll give you that. But he'd be a hell of a C2, and he'd be a hell of a presence on a power play. So I don't know. But yeah, I did hear the rumors too. I, for one, cannot wait to be able to talk football and get my homerism I have for the Eagles. Yeah, well, enough time. I can wait for that. But no, it's coming, man. It's coming soon. Are the Phillies a home run or bust? Are Phillies home run or bust? What's home run? What's that mean, Star Wars? What does home run or bust mean? World Series or bust? Is that what you're trying to say? Are they a home run or bust? Well, I don't understand what that means. Please explain further what you mean. As Star Wars does that, I want to remind everybody, please like, share, and subscribe to the It's a Wrap Sports Network. We are on the verge of growing. We are on the verge of a growth spurt that's probably going to happen here within the next couple of weeks, actually. We got some new programming that's going to debut here on the network. I'm not going to get into the details about it, but we do have some people joining, some shows joining, and we're going to take this network into a different way, different direction a little bit. But we're going to grow. We're going to start growing here soon. And then, of course, as Steve mentioned about football, with the football season comes the return of our Eagles coverage with the pre and post game show. It's going to also bring Michael Aro. He's going to be doing a Penn State post game show, and he's going to be doing like a betting show as well, strictly for entertainment purposes, of course. So we're going to bring in that show, and then with the Sixers season coming in, we may toy around. I don't know yet about a Sixers post game. I'd rather watch paint dry on the wall than listen to a Sixers post game show. But it's not all about me. I get that, but we'll see. But major growth is about to happen here. This will be the second growth spurt we've had this year with the It's a Wrap Sports Network, and continuing our march to my ultimate goal, to sit here in front of you for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and get paid for it too. But that's what the ultimate goal. For those of you that don't know our mission statement here, I'll give it to you very clearly. Terrestrial radio, sports radio, is dead. And the carcass is starting to rot. This is the wave of the future. And sports shows like this, or sports networks like this, taking the 24/7 format, which I still think is a winner, and moving it to a platform like this. And that's the actual mission statement of the It's a Wrap Sports Network, is to be the first 24/7 Philadelphia sports network on the internet. Taking the concept of a WIP or a Fanatic and then bringing it here. So ultimately, that's where I hope we find ourselves. And we're going to take another major step in that direction here very soon. So keep on keeping on for the ride of a lifetime. Are the Phillies home run or bust? I don't know what the hell you mean. What does that mean? So are you saying, are the Phillies a home run hitting team or nothing? Absolutely. If that's what you're asking, then yes. The answer is yes, they are. Steve, but going to a Phillies game and doing Eagles cheers is pretty low bar, in my opinion. Yeah, and now they're bringing it home, right? Before it was on the road, and now it's showing up at CBP. It is extremely low bar. It's disrespectful to the Phillies. It's disrespectful to the city. There's plenty of time to do Eagles cheers during the appropriate time when the Phillies season is lost, or right at an Eagles game, for God's sake. So I agree with you, Barbara. Stop with the damn Eagles cheers outside of Eagles games. I hope the site continues to grow. I love it. Thank you, Barbara. And we're going to continue to grow. It's over my dead body. We are. I'm getting tired of Phillies hitting home runs. I am too, Star Wars. I've said this. I remember a few weeks back, I said, I think Rob Thompson should fine every player on this team $500 for hitting home runs until they prove they can play small ball and contact baseball. You fine them when they hit home runs. I agree with you, Stars, 100%. So I'm going to put it up again. This is the link. So if you guys want to chime in, they're open. But we're going to continue driving through here. Let's get to our of the night segment here on the program. Where is it? Yeah, it's the of the night segment here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network and on the Final Word. And we are streaming, again, the next big time shows that we got coming up are MLB, NHL draft coverage. Will commence at the end of the month. We also got to get the damn Flyers season review show done. That we're working on that probably sometime right before the NHL draft. We'll come back with the Clear the Ice Flyers season and review show. But tonight we're going to continue pushing towards that ultimate goal of getting to the damn draft by really hitting hard on these draft prospects. We did the NHL draft prospect, Matthew Schaefer, who, of course, is a consensus number 1 overall pick the other night. And tonight we're going to go back into baseball. But before I do that, before I debut tonight's MLB draft prospect, I do want to talk a little bit about the Phillies in the MLB draft, because the Phillies are picking 26th overall in this year's MLB draft. And no one's asked me, nor have I really even heard anybody talking about who they think the Phillies should take. Now, we've been previewing a lot of these players. I've segregated about 40 of them, 40 of the top collegiate/high school talent around the country, and have been sort of kind of, throwing their names up against the wall, because there's no rhyme or reason that any of these players will actually get drafted, but I think that they will. I think most of the guys that we've talked about over the last few months on this program will be drafted. And tonight, before we talk about our new draft prospect, I do want to talk about who I think the Phillies are going to take. And it's a player we've already talked about on this segment. Now, the question ultimately goes to what are the Phillies' needs? And always pitching is sort of the overarching need for every baseball team. No one can have enough pitching, understandably so. Other than Seth Hernandez, who he's probably the first pitcher off the board in this year's draft. There's a lot of good talent, but I don't see any really lockdown first-round talent beyond Seth Hernandez. This is not, in my opinion, a deep first-round draft pitching pool. There's a lot of pitching in this draft, as there is in every draft. And there's probably going to be some players later in the draft that are going to find that you're going to strike gold with. But as far as going off and saying, this is my number one guy, so-and-so, there's a handful of those guys. And none of those guys, in my opinion, will be available when the Phillies pick at 26. But there is a player out there that I think will be available. And I think there's a player, and it's a position of need for this organization. Because, again, when we talk about baseball drafting, we ain't talking about what the Phillies need currently. It's what they're going to need 5 years from now. And what they lack today, and what they might need 5 years from today, and that's what that's what makes the baseball and the hockey. That's why maybe that's why I gravitate towards baseball and hockey more so than any other sport, is because of the attention to detail involved in building a successful professional hockey and baseball team. Because you're not really looking. You're looking both at today and you're also looking at tomorrow at the same damn time. And you got to balance both. And in baseball, of course, you're not drafting for 2025 and 2025. You're drafting for 2030 and 2025. And I think in 2030-ish, this position will still, it's a position of need right now because we're barren throughout our system in this position. And I think it would be it's always good to kind of keep the rotating door going. And I think, honestly, so my choice, who I think the Phillies are going to go ahead and draft. Again, we talked about him. Luke Stevenson, the catcher out of North Carolina. He is the top-ranked catching prospect this year in this year's draft. And if there's a position of need within this organization, it is definitely catcher. We have Eduardo Tait, who's in low A, Clearwater. We got Arlo Furbis, who's in the friggin' rookie leagues. And you got Jordan Disson. I don't even know where Disson is now. Is he up with I think he's double A. You got Jordan Disson in double A. And that's it. That's it, really. I mean, there's catchers all over the organization, but those are the three players that, might have some sort of opportunity at some point to sniff the major leagues. And Edward Tait, of course, is labeled the next great thing for the Phillies. He's the catcher of the future. But Luke Stevenson, again, looking at, say, 2030 as the year, to me, would really fit the need as a viable catching prospect. And we talked about him earlier. I think he was one of the players we did real early on in our MLB draft profile. And just refresh our memories, he's both the highest rated sophomore eligible prospect and the top all-around college catcher. He hit 284, 420, and 535 of 14 home runs as a freshman starter on a men's college World Series team, and he grades as solid in terms of pure power, ability, receiving ability, and arm strength. You know what? It's slam dunk. So if by some odd chance, and I think there's a good chance that Luke Stevenson's lurking at 26, I think the Phillies should take him. So just wanted to kind of let you guys know where I stand on that. Before we talk about tonight's prospect, and let's get to him right now. Aaron Watson, the right-hand pitcher from Trinity, Florida. Again, I mentioned that this draft is not necessarily top-heavy with first-round pitching talent, but Aaron Watson is low-end first-round, potential high part of the second-round pitching talent. He's a high schooler out of Florida because of his feel for pitching. The 6'5", and I love that 6'5", man, 6'5" righty. Watson has a pretty high floor, and it is not difficult to imagine a higher ceiling as he adds strength to that frame. He's typically in the low 90s with his fastball. He needs to come up, though. He needs to be consistently at 95 with more consistent velocity to come. He throws his heater with good sink, getting a lot of ground ball outs, and complements it with a pair of very efficient secondary offerings. He can miss bats at a 70 to 82 mile-an-hour slider and he has really good feel for his mid-80s changeup. Dig in mid-80s changeup, and also dig in an 82-mile-an-hour slider. The only problem with Aaron Watson is the heater. I need that to be a 95-mile-an-hour minimum, with potentially touching 97 or 98. But he's got obviously the 6'5", and he's got some growing to do, and he's got some power to kind of roll himself into. But if he's there, which he might also be there at 26. I would definitely be looking at an Aaron Watson. But again, I think more of the bottom round, maybe mid-round, first round, bottom end of the first round. So there you go. Tonight's MLB draft prospect is Aaron Watson. And we're almost done with these damn prospects. It's been a while, man. I can't wait to hear 9. Oh, yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Man, is Stott ever going to be what they made him out to be? No. And then thank God, and I've said this multiple times, Barbara, and I'll say it again. Thank God we're not comparing him to Chase Utley anymore. Thank God that's all done with. We're going to be sellers if we keep losing like that. Yeah, we probably will be. Are you allowed to trade up in the MLB? Absolutely. Yes, you are. You're 100% allowed to trade up in the MLB draft. But the problem with that is, Joe, there's so many players. There's so many players. Trading up, unless you're legitimately anybody who's in the top 5, which is your usual suspects, the Pirates, the Rockies, the White Sox, the A's. They're the teams that are kind of always in the top 5. They're not coming out of there because they're trying to restock for the future. So yeah, you can trade up. I believe Washington has the number 1 overall pick this year, and that's going to be Ethan Holiday 100%. Ethan Holiday will be we'll be seeing him a lot over the next, probably in about 3 years. But yeah, those teams don't come out of those spots, and it's almost. I mean, you see some maneuvering in the with trades, but not much because there's just so many people, so many players to choose from. That nobody wants to give up any talent. Oh. You want to get up there and do it. But no, trading for draft picks or throwing draft picks into trades is definitely on the board, but there's just so many of them that it's really never done. We certainly need, we do. We definitely need top catchers in our system. So there you go. There's there's the other night segment. So now what Joe's been kind of hinting on, we did this, we started this list a few weeks ago and kind of got one into it and then got away from it. It's MattyB's greatest Phillies trades in history. We did the worst trades in Phillies history. Now we're going to go do, because it's fair. It's it's fair to do this. We're going to do the best trades in Phillies history. And number 10 was, what did I say? What was my number 10 best trade in Phillies history? Was JT Realmuto from the Marlins for Sixto Sanchez, Jorge Alfaro, Will Stewart, and some international signing bonus money. Alfaro never, of course, wasn't going to be anything. The jewel of the trade for the Marlins was Sanchez, who just completely fell apart. Injuries ravished him, and I don't even think he's in Major League Baseball anymore. And, of course, JT, for, 4 of the 5 years he's been here, has been very serviceable. And so you got to give that, and it was a good trade at the time. Again, it was one of those, it was in 2019, the same year we signed Harper. It was a signal that we were serious about winning now, and definitely was. It was definitely one of the better trades. So let's get on to our number 9 trade in Phillies history. I'm going to go with the Cliff Lee Part 1 trade. So we sent Cliff Lee. Oh, we got Cliff Lee and Ben Francisco from the Indians for Carlos Carrasco, Lou Marsden, Jason Knapp, and Jason Donald. All these players that the Phillies sent to Cleveland were high-touted prospects. And, of course, Carlos Carrasco is the only one who really actually panned out to being anything. I guess, Jason Knapp might have, or Jason Donald, you can, I don't know. But really it was, and Ben Francisco actually, provided a need here too. So I'm going to, it was a really good trade. Carrasco stung a little bit because he had a great career. But for what we got out of Cliff Lee, I definitely think it was one of the better trades in Phillies history. So much so that I put it 9 on my list. So the Part 1 of Cliff Lee coming here when he first initially was traded here back in 2009 from Cleveland for Carlos Carrasco, Lou Marsden, Jason Knapp, and Jay Style. Now, you could also look at this trade as one of the worst because it was saying goodbye to some prospects, but and it signaled an opportunity or signaled a time in our history where we were getting rid of all of our prospects. But there you go. The Cliff Lee trade is my number 9 all time on my list. So I hope you guys like that. Let's get into the best part of the night, man. Oh yeah, here we go. All right. Jeez. There's a poker game going on here. The MattyB card review segment, real quick, because I'm up against some things right now. I gotta sign off here a little bit. But tonight we're staying in 87 tops. Of course we are, because we're never gonna leave 87 tops. We're stuck here forever. But we're going at an icon player, an iconic Phillies player from the 87 tops. But it's not his Phillies card. But he's an iconic player. He's one of the top players ever to play for this organization. And he's one of the only cards in the history of baseball to have his baseball card represented by 4 different teams in the same season. That's right. This individual has 4 cards from the 87 top set on 4 different teams. I did my math. I did my research. I could not find any other player in the history of baseball cards that has this dubious honor of appearing on 4 different baseball cards for 4 different teams in the same baseball card set season. And this guy did it back in 1987. And be honest, if you have any of this guy's cards, they're worth money and they're worth nostalgic value. He is the greatest left-handed pitcher of all time, and the greatest left-handed pitcher in Phillies history, of course, the great Steve Carlton, his 87 tops. Now, this is his White Sox card. He also had a Giants card. He also had a Phillies card. And he also had a Minnesota Twins card from 87 that actually never was published. So, but it was produced, just never sent out. So, yes, he does have 4 cards in one season. Of course, the Phillies traded Steve Carlton midway through the 86 season to the Giants. He pitched like one time with the Giants, said he's done, he's retiring, never submitted his paperwork, ended up signing as a free agent with the White Sox. Then he ended up moving on in the beginning of the 87 season, or the 87 season in spring training with the Twins. And then I don't think he made it through the 87 season, but he did have an 87 card with the Twins that never got published. So Steve Carlton, his 87, and this is his, I only have 2 of the 4. I don't have the others. I have his White Sox card and I have his Phillies card. And this is an iconic card, an iconic picture from an iconic set, and truly one of the best. So there you go. Tonight's card of the night, the Steve Carlton from 87 tops. And yeah, 4 different teams, 4 different cards. So listen, folks, that is going to do it for tonight. I want to thank you for coming on. Thank you for spending some time with me. I'll be back tomorrow. Don't forget, so with the attacking third and all the other great stuff we have here on the network. So you guys have a good night and a pleasant tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow night.